And we are live. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Hold on. Queuing up a theme song as usual.
You got a question for RL? You got a question for RL?
No, not that. Not that version. Not that version. Reality, spirituality. Look at this makeshift studio. Shout out to the creator of that song, my number one son, who now I have set him free. But that's another show. Set him free this week. That's right. My only son, I set him free. It's total detachment. You're free. Well, let me just introduce myself. Reality Spirituality. Welcome everyone to Reality Spirituality. Rebecca L. Norrington, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner. I don't need to go on. Welcome to the show. This is a place where I share how do you experience more happiness along the journey. And it's when I say happiness, it's not about, oh, something happens, now I'm happy. It's how do you maintain and sustain an energy, a personal vibration of contentment, of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. How do you stay rooted in contentment? The ultimate state. Contentment, love, peace. How do you stay there? Is it even possible? The answer is yes, with practice. Happiness is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. Contentment is a practice skill. It's a practice, but it ain't easy. It ain't an easy practice. And I'm really excited to share today's show, which just came to me this morning. I usually have this feeling either Saturday or Sunday morning, what topic I'm going to focus on, discuss, dissect. And this has been coming up a lot. When I say a life in prison, I'm talking about you, audience. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about 98% of the population. What? That's right. A life in prison. And what does that even mean? We'll get back to that in a minute. Back to back. As soon as you're born, you're given a name, a nationality, a religion, a race, and a culture, and then you spend the rest of your life identifying with and defending that program. Most of the time, locked into a program, locked into a way of thinking, locked into a way of believing, locked into a way of behavior. You're in a prison. That's a tease. Question, especially if you're new to the channel or to the show. How happy are you? Can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people offend you? Do you blame other people for how you're feeling? Do you blame the circumstances? Look at the world. How you view the world is what's going on inside of you. It's a really easy tell. How you perceive the world is what's going on inside of you. This journey is ongoing. The practice is ongoing. And when I say happiness is a practice skill, it is about how much do you value? Is contentment even on the list of things to do? Is inner peace even a topic of, scratch the topic, is that even a goal? It is for me, and it has been for decades. And I'm learning more and more every single day. I said at the beginning of the show that I set my son free. It's really interesting. He's my only son. He's 40. He's going to be 41 next month. 41 years old. I'm 70. Don't tell anybody. I don't know why that just rolls off my tongue now. Guess what? I'm 70. Woo! Lord, somebody shoot me. But one of the things that I had to admit, I had to reflect, was forced to be aware of as a mother of an only child. I had, even as much as I practice, I didn't realize, scratch that, it wasn't time for me to realize that if I say I love someone, and I mean love in the highest sense, not this human love. Oh, not this human love. Love and a sin number. I don't know what that is. If I say I love someone, when I say I love someone, is that love conditional? Does that love mean that if the person changes their behavior, doesn't want to, let's just say, doesn't want to speak with me, doesn't want to be in my company, doesn't want to, and for the reasons that it's not personal, it's just, I'm not inspired. Am I able to love, and I mean love, universally love, even if I don't see them, even if there's no contact? The universe has brought me to a place of what love, and I'm using that term in a universal sense, what love really is. And I got there, and guess how it feels? It doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't. It feels spacious, and I don't have the words, but I'm doing the best I can to come up with a description. Spacious, open, peaceful. And in fact, that's going to be a chapter in my fourth book, which is going to be called Program Relationships. And I call it Love Without Debris. Love without debris. So the way the universe, God, source, loves, there are no stipulations. The sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. I've said it for decades. And getting back to my relationship with my only son, it is looking in the mirror and realizing that there was something I needed from him. Even if it's just more communication, even if it's just, I want to see you more often. There's something that I still needed. And needing something from this is me needing something from someone who I claim to love is energetically off. God loves freely. The universe is just, when I say shines on the serial killer, I mean the serial killer. And it's not about just loving one, it's just being the state, being an example of the state of love. Getting it's a new feeling, it's a new state, and there's no it's just love without debris, love without obligation, love without expectations, love with acceptance, love with judgment, love with no judgment. I love you if I love you today, and if I don't see you for 20 years, I still love you. I don't want anything from you. That's not easy. But the universe graced me with finally getting to that state. So shout out to my only son, Nathan Norrington. You're free. He knows he's free. I sent him a message, and there was a little bit of ego in there, but I did say you're free. And whenever or if ever you need or want to be around or talk, I'm here. And that's a love that is beyond anything these humans are talking about. There's always something somebody wants if they love you. If they say they love you, they need your company. They need communication. Happiness specialist. This is a new year, 26. I want to say that this show, I'm going to evolve it into a shorter introduction. Google the 5 most common regrets of the dying. 5 most common regrets of the dying. It's online. The 5 most common regrets. Number 1, I wish I pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A life in prison. And what do I mean by that? A life in prison. Can you imagine? Well, some people that listen to the show, maybe they have gone to prison or jail. Can you imagine living in a solitary cell? Shout out to all my inmates, all my fans that are inmates. Can you imagine living in a solitary cell for all of this human, for all of your life, for all of your life? Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to share that if you are not actively conscious, that if you do not question 98%, did I say 98%? Really, it's 100. 98% of what goes on if you are not able to question 98% of thoughts and beliefs to see if this is the truth or is this just a running program. One of the gentlemen at the gym, I work out in the mornings, usually every day. One of the gentlemen at the gym, he's told me that he was married for, I don't know, almost 30 something years, maybe 35 years. His wife died of cancer. And then a few years later, he was fortunate enough, scratch the fortunate. It was part of his journey to find a girlfriend, and they were together for 20 something years too. And the girlfriend died of cancer also, and he took care of both of these women. Just a man that felt compelled or loved that strongly to take care of them till they breathed their final breath. And he's told me more than once that when he thinks about the wife or the girlfriend, that he cries. And he says it's so sad. He's told me this before. It's so sad. It's so sad when I think about them. And there's been a couple of times where I've said, can you or would you be open to coming up with another word other than sad? Other than sad. You know what? I think it's the candles burning that gets in my throat. Hold on a second. This studio is without an open window. Is it possible for you to come up with another word other than it's sad when I think about my girlfriend and my wife dying of cancer? And of course, the answer, he said no. And we had a maybe half-hour conversation today. And he said, when I look at pictures or I think about them and I start crying, he said, but that sadness, that's the only way that I can connect to them. And I told him, that's not true. Now, when I say question the beliefs, I am serious about questioning every belief. That's the only way. But if that is the only way, we all know that there's more than one way to think about death or to look back and think about or have memories. You can look back and say they're sad, or you can look back and say they're happy or memorable happy, or however you're going to describe them. But this gentleman is holding on to that energy of sadness like he's holding on to a lottery ticket. And if you are not able, respectfully, if you are not able to come up with another perspective, then you are living a life in prison. If you are not able to always question the deep-seated beliefs, then you are in prison. Then you are living in a prison cell. Respectfully, lovingly, she proclaimed. He was telling me that when he thinks about them and he cries and it's sad, that he feels a connection. When that happens, I feel a connection. I said, but have you ever thought about these are happy tears? Everyone has experienced happy tears. Maybe not to say that, oh, this is a different way of thinking about it. But maybe not to say, oh, these are happy tears. But you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference energetically if you describe the tears as happy tears versus sad tears. Which this is such a stupid question. I hate stupid questions. Which energetic label, sad, happy, is going to feel more freeing, more peaceful, more balanced? Happy tears, sad tears. You know, there's movies, television shows. I don't know. I'm really dating myself when I talk about, oh gosh, this is going to be so goofy. Lassie. There was a television show when I was growing up, and it was about a collie named Lassie, Lassie. And sometimes Lassie would run away from home, or sometimes Lassie was picked up and taken across the country. And I'll never forget it. I think it was a whole week. Lassie was gone for a whole week. And then when Lassie finally found her way back home, and Timmy was her Lassie was a girl, and Timmy was what was Timmy was her, I'm not going to say master. Timmy was her person that loved Lassie. You know, Lassie was a family dog. Lord have mercy, what am I doing? Lassie was a family dog, and Timmy was a boy that lived in the house, that lived in the family. And Timmy was very close to Lassie, of course. But when Lassie, this particular episode was a to be continued, because Lassie was gone for a long time. And Lassie finally found her way back. I'll never forget. And Lassie's over the hill, running, getting closer and closer to the house where Timmy lived, and running faster and faster. And Timmy sees Lassie, or hears Lassie. Ruff, 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 ruff. Lassie. Gosh. You know, I really need to be on stage. Lassie, is that you? Ruff, ruff, ruff. Lassie's running, Timmy's running, you know, the movie, running toward each other. Oh God. And then they embrace and hug and pet, and oh, Lassie's back. Well, those are happy tears. That's an example of happy tears. I don't know why I have to explain it, but those are an example. And I contend that if you are not able to switch the perspective from sad tears to happy tears, then you are stuck in a prison. In fact, 98% of what you believe, 98% of the beliefs that you believe are true are just not. The point is to question all of these beliefs to determine whether it is a programmed belief that has gone on and on and on for years and decades sometimes. Decades of beliefs that are just not true. So if you are not able to quickly scratch that, practice quickly coming up with another perspective about anything, know that you are living in a prison. One perspective, prison walls. Unless it's a scientific fact, unless it's a mathematical conclusion, this mind will keep you trapped. And that's why the practice of separating yourself, really visualizing and separating you from the mind, from the stories, is so important. I refuse to be a slave. I refuse to be a prisoner. I refuse to be caught up in these beliefs that are programs. And the practice is to transcend and get to another level of thinking about the same thing, the same topic that I used to believe over. I mean, what I'm trying to think of a perfect example. This would have been nice if I thought of this example before the show, because sometimes it's a little foggy, little cobwebs in here. For years and years and years and years. Okay, how about this one? Years and years and years and years, I loved cold weather. Loved the cold weather, loved the rain. Did not like this, did not like warm, do not like the heat. Anything over, listen, this temperature in the house here is set at 65. And in the evening, I mean, my record is 54 inside the house. I like it cold. That's why I live alone. Did I say that out loud? The point is, I had this whole thing. I don't like hot weather. I'd rather it be cold. Even something as small or even something as significant as that. Staying open to The weather is going to be whatever it is. If I have to stick with a preference and I cannot expand to just even accept something more than just what the mind wants, I'm stuck in a prison. And if I'm stuck in a prison, only coming up with one perspective, not having the ability to stay open to all possibilities, to all different ways of thinking. If I'm in a prison, you're in a prison too. And my question is, when is the last time you changed a deep-seated belief? When is the last time you got rid of, threw in the garbage, threw in the trash, a deep-seated belief? And it could be from health, politics, state of the world, anything. You know when there's a switch, you can feel it. In fact, I was talking to someone on the phone this week who's on the OWL app, OWWLL, who's on the OWL app. And she said something I'd never heard before. She said she's very, very into clean eating, only plant-based, only nothing from a can, only pure food, pure, from the ground. Carrot, pull it up, and you start chomping on it. You don't even wash it off. Like I do with my blueberries every summer. Every summer, picking 47 pounds of blueberries. I digress. And she said, you couldn't pay me to eat a hamburger. There's not enough money on the planet. You could not pay me to eat a hamburger. You could not pay me to eat French fries. Now that, nothing wrong with it. But this person is stuck, so stuck in this way of thinking. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but that is the only way that she can. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But that is a prison. That is a form of prison. Anytime a person is not able to accept, practice, look at, be aware of another person. And in fact, the chat is open, so feel free to ask questions or comment. Yeah, questions or comment. And there's not a lot of people that are interested in transcending and doing something different, especially if the program, well, all programs are deeply rooted, but those programs will keep you stuck. Some people are so rigid in their beliefs, and listen to this one. There's a friend of mine who I've never met, but we've been friends online for over 15 years. And one of the things that I've challenged him with is, hey, can you go to a restaurant, order a bowl of Jell-O? I don't even know they sell Jell-O anymore in a restaurant. Order a bowl of Jell-O in a restaurant. Put your hands in the Jell-O and just play around in it. Oh God, no, I can't do that. In fact, let me throw it back on me. So now I have homework. I just gave myself homework. I was talking about putting on mismatched socks, and this was just a couple of days ago, and I said, "Oh, that feels so uncomfortable. One sock is green and one sock is red, or the socks don't match. Oh no, I can't do that." You follow what I'm saying when I say that is a form of being a prisoner? Can't do that. I can't match. I can't do plaids and polka dots and paisleys all in the same outfit. No, I can't do it. I'm using a small example. of the concept of being in prison, of not being able to, wow, it feels so uncomfortable. I mean, how crazy does that sound? How silly does that sound that I can't put on a red sock and a green sock and walk out the house? And it's not about people looking at me and thinking a certain way. That's not it. I don't have that. I don't have that embarrassment gene. I don't have that. I care what you think. I don't have that anymore. Getting it, in fact, being embarrassed or getting embarrassed only means that you care about what somebody else thinks. So I don't have that, because trust me, I walk out the house looking crazy. Look, in fact, my sister once told me, she says, "Why do you always have to look like you're homeless? Why do you always have to look like a hobo?" Just because I like I like flannel, and I like comfortable pants, and I like flip-flops. That's it. Of course, I digress again. But back to the different colored socks, or the different socks. It has nothing to do with people looking and saying, "Oh God, what's wrong with her?" No, mentally, I am in a prison that would feel off. You follow what I'm saying? Putting on a red sock and a green sock, or two different socks. I have the, hold on a second. Hold on. Oh no, I'm not wearing them, so I couldn't take them off. Okay, shoot, I'm not wearing those socks. I have some Nike socks, and some of them have a blue stripe and some of them have a black stripe. I can't wear a black stripe and a blue stripe. And by the way, the stripes aren't even showing. They're in the side of the sock, so you can't even see them if you have shoes on. Now, if you have thongs and flip-flops, who wears flip-flops? Who wears socks with flip-flops? But you follow that is a point. You can't wear black and blue. You can't have a black sock with a stripe and a blue. You follow that? I'm stuck. I am a prisoner. In fact, after this show, there's no way I'm going to allow my mind to keep me in prison. And so that is the practice, to always practice, to practice, speaking for myself, to practice what the mind says. You can't do that. No, I am going to start breaking that, because there's no way I'm going to allow this mind, which is really an illusion. It isn't even me. What do they call, some foreign entity taking over and telling me that you feel uncomfortable with a black stripe and a blue stripe at the same time. Do you follow what I'm saying? By the way, I have my hair. I call this my walking, talking bird's nest hairstyle. So I'm a walking, talking bird's nest. I have a family that's going to be moving in as soon as I end the show. A family of hummingbirds, because it's really not big enough for a hawk or an eagle. Just hummingbirds living in here. Back to the life in prison. I challenge you, my dear audience, to be aware, take notice of what feels uncomfortable. And I'm not talking about something big, I'm talking about even the small things. Even if it's, I always eat with a fork. And in fact, I had lunch with someone this week, and they always eat with a fork and a knife in each hand, just to be able to knife, fork, cut, put together. Knife, fork stays in the hand. It was very interesting to watch. Am I able to even with the habits, the habits that are, am I able to do something, behave in a different way, and break that cycle that the mind has on? Break that cycle that the mind has on me. Scratch that. Break that prison that the mind has me trapped in. Watch this. Thumb to pinky, thumb to pointer. Thumb to pinky, thumb to pointer. This feels very, if you've never done this before, it feels a little off. It feels a little awkward. It doesn't feel flowy. It doesn't feel flowy. That's it. Here. This is an exercise. Here. Let's do it together. Here, 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 here. So you end up with pinky and thumb, but you're doing them in the opposite way. Pinky. Oop, see, I messed up. Look at that. Now I ended on both pointers. Got to do it again. Pointer, pinky, pinky, pointer. Bip, 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 bip. And then you go back. Bip, bip. I should have practiced. Okay, pointer, pinky. Bip, 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 bip. Hmm. So you come up with pinky, pointer, pointer, pinky, and you go back and forth. It just challenges the mind to do something different. Got it? And the point of all of that is, who's going to experience more peace? Who's going to experience more contentment? Who's going to be happier with a limited amount of options or an infinite amount of options? When you are in prison, if you are in a prison cell, you have a limited, very limited amount of options. And the practice is to stay open, even if it feels uncomfortable, because it will feel uncomfortable, but it will feel uncomfortable first time, second time, third time. It may feel uncomfortable for 100 times, but there is going to be a point where that uncomfortable feeling isn't there anymore. Scratch that. It still may be there, but it doesn't matter. Usually, feeling uncomfortable, speaking for myself, kept me stuck in the same spot. Feeling uncomfortable is very, very, that uncomfortable, because the mind says, oh no, this is something new. No, we're not going to do that. And I challenge you to do something that feels uncomfortable to the mind, to take back your, I don't want to say take back your power, how cliche, to take back. No, mind, you are not in charge of what I do or what I think. I'm telling you, this freedom, this mind jail cell is real. The mind wants to do the same things over and over and over again. But that over and over and over again will keep me in a place of, number one, zero growth. Number two, at least I feel comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, but there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable, being comfortable. But know that, this is what I believe, know that comfort the discomfort in doing something different soon will morph into, wow, okay, I'm not feeling comfortable, but guess what? I know what's around the corner is growth. Growth is right around the corner. Expanding is right around the corner. More awareness is right around the corner. If you practice, because it is a practice, there's no trying, there's no work, it is a practice. When you practice doing something that the mind says, it's uncomfortable. Listen to this. One of the people at the gym, and the same person that can't put their hands in Jello. I said, you go home and you dance a jig. Now look at how dance a jig. Who has a problem with that? Some people. I ain't dancing no jig. I ain't clapping. I'm not snapping. I'm not dancing in public. I'm not putting my hands in Jello. And for what reason? The reason is because of the prison of that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So when my mind tells me, or the mind, scratch that, because I say not my mind, when the mind tells me you can't do that. In fact, yesterday I went to a meeting. It was a community meeting, and there was a board of directors, and I wanted to present something to each one of them. And then I was sitting there, and I was kind of feeling out which one energetically vibed with me. There was probably about 4 of them. But I still sat there and said, you really don't have to do that. You really don't have to get up and talk to them. You really don't have to give them what you could always mail it. You could always mail your information. You don't have to talk to anybody face to face. Oh yeah, the mind will keep me in a state of don't do anything out of the box. And I'm here to tell you that out of the box doing something different is so necessary to get to another place, to get to another level. It is doing, being, behaving, talking, not talking. In fact, there are some people that are so programmed, and there's no judgment here, but there are people that I observe that are so programmed that they say the same thing every time I see them. Hi, how are you? How was your weekend? That is just a program. And I said, well, you know what? Don't say, how are you? Just say hello. Well, got to say, how are you? I have to say that. This is the whole point of this topic today. There's nothing that you need to do other than be aware. Awareness is the work. And can you change something? Back to the tears. This gentleman said that every time he thinks about his wife and his girlfriend, sad. It's just sad. It's just so sad. And I told him today, can you change that to happy tears? Can you change that to think about it as, oh, these are happy tears? Well, for decades, it's been sad. And he told me he didn't say it hurts, but how can it's been sad. It is sad. No, you can change that. That's what I mean when I say in a prison, a life of being in prison, a life of the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same behavior is a life in prison. And 98% of the population will live right here without change, without something different. And that's just reality. And I still embrace, still accept, still embrace. But knowing that a person doesn't have the ability, and I say this, doesn't have the ability, but have you ever tried to change somebody else's behavior? Have you ever tried to change somebody else's mind? Have you ever tried to say, well, this would be more beneficial? Wow. These people are operating on programmed behavior, programmed for unhappiness, programmed behavior. In this book, I have 56 programmed behaviors. This is on Amazon. This is 56 programmed behaviors listed in this book. I also have 26 behaviors that are not programmed that you can practice that are going to add to your contentment. But the programming is real, and the practice is to leap over, look down on, pay attention to, observe the programming, and do something different. And if you're not able to do that with feeling uncomfortable, you are living in a prison. I am living in a prison if I'm not able to. And in fact, I broke out of a couple of prisons this week. One was, and I explained this earlier in the show, but I'm going to throw it again only because sometimes people listen in the beginning and they, oh God, she's boring. Next, click. I let go of, well, it was time to, I'm not going to say I let go. The universe graced me. It was time to let go of wanting or needing or expecting anything from someone that I said I loved. Letting go of wanting, needing, desiring, expecting from anyone that I said that I love. You're free. You're free to call me if you want. You're free to not call me. I will still love. You are free to be in my company, or you are free to be away from me. I will still love. And then I'm thinking, this is, I'll love this person. I'll love that person. It doesn't matter what they do. And then the universe graced me with this. That is love. Being able to love without any stipulations. Being able to accept without wanting or desiring, especially from someone else. There's my only son loved more than the I love this kid. I love him. But there was something that it'd be nice to see him a little bit more often. It'd be nice to, no. This week, all gone. And before there was a little, I call it love without debris, love without conditions. It is my dear audience, it is a different way of feeling. It is a different way of vibing. And there's no conversation about it. It is an energetic shift. Because the universe gave it to me. They said, now you can do that with everyone. If you can do that with your son, you can love, you can be in a state of love all the time. That was something else that happened this week. And the other thing, though, is just paying attention to the programming. Pay attention to the beliefs that are not true. Pay attention to what the mind says is. This is another example. When someone was talking to me and they said, I used to believe for decades of belief that I have a boring life. This is big, that I have a boring life. Boring life. Now that word boring, that's another program. There's no such thing as boring in the universe. Is there anything boring in nature? Is there anything out in nature that's boring? That's another program. And then he said, but you know what? After decades of believing that I lived a boring life, I shifted the belief that this is pretty interesting. He lived in Korea for 4 years, no running water, no running water. I would have shot myself. No running water. You had to go walk down to get not only no running water, but no hot water. No. But that shift of boring to interesting and fascinating, can you see the slight shift? And that's what I challenge scratch that, not everyone, but if you are really if you value even more contentment and more peace and more freedom, practice coming up with another perspective to the same situation. Nothing changes other than the perspective. But the ability to change, the wanting, the wanting to shift, the wanting to come up with another perspective is the transcending, is the transformation, is the growth. The mind will keep you stuck. The mind will keep you in a prison. The mind will keep you right there. And it's not that you're doing anything that well, I'm, I hear this, oh, I'm stuck. They call it blocks. That's a bunch of bull crap too. Oh, I'm blocked, or I'm sabotaging, self-sabotage. That's a bunch of bull crap. Can I say bullshit? Yes, you can. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm blocked. I'm sabotaging myself. No, you can't block anything God has planned for you. You can't sabotage anything God has planned for you. That's another program belief that is spread. Oh, by the way, all these gurus out there, these inspirational gurus that, and not everyone, but there's a very small that I would say thumbs up, but the majority are always selling something. They're selling you, and you can see it, the millionaire mindset, abundance, and they're more abundance. What the hell does that mean? Abundance. All it means is programmed to be dissatisfied with your present moment. There's always something more. There's always something, achieve, accomplish. How about vibrating an energy of satisfaction in every moment as opposed to dissatisfaction? Can you do that? No, because the mind will say, nope, this moment isn't enough. That's another example of living in prison. The mind is not here to free you. The mind is here to imprison you. I just came up with that. This just came out of my ass. The mind is here to imprison you, not to free you. The mind doesn't want freedom. The mind wants the status quo. The mind wants prison. The mind wants everything the same. That's why it's always good to do something different. Oh, but back to these gurus that are always selling a book, selling a program, you got to sell something. And all I'm selling here, I'm not selling anything. Listen, of course, it's always nice to have a little bit more cash. So I don't have to wait for so I can get my hair colored before the gray comes through. It's not about having more cash. It's about a vibrating satisfaction. At least it is for me, because I am a happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner. So if you're selling, if anyone is selling you something, a program, just know that even when you accomplish, or even when you get to another level, in fact, I'm going to get right on it as soon as this show is over. There's one of these gurus, a global guru, and he writes books. And so he's thinking about, he actually posted and said, he says, what do you think? You know how people talk to their audience. What do you think? My publisher isn't going to be happy about this. In other words, writing a book is all about being a #1 bestseller. And yeah, I get it. #1 bestseller, #1 bestseller. This was an Amazon 1 bestseller, but everybody knows there is a formula for this to be a #1 bestseller. But it's interesting how this being a bestseller or winning a Super Bowl, shout out to Tom Brady, or winning 6 NBA championships, shout out to Michael Jordan, is never satisfying. There's satisfaction for a moment. There's satisfaction for a short period of time, you know, when people acknowledge, oh, 6-time NBA championship, Michael Jordan. Well, Michael Jordan will tell you right now. In fact, if you watched The Last Dance, he'll tell you that he's not satisfied with 6 NBA championships. Can you imagine? And Tom Brady will tell you that he's not satisfied with 7 Super Bowl rings. It's not about the achievement. It's not about the accomplishments. It's about the present moment, and it's about what are you vibrating? And what is your energy? And there is an energy of dissatisfaction. And that energy of dissatisfaction is another prison cell. Can you imagine vibrating satisfaction in every moment and you don't have to do anything to get there? You don't have to accomplish. You don't have to read. You don't have to have more money. You don't have to sell another book. You don't have to be a bestseller. I'm telling you, years ago, New York Times bestseller. And I already know that when I am a New York Times bestselling author, it will mean nothing. It will mean nothing to the soul. It will mean nothing to my personal energy. It will mean nothing to my vibration. Nothing. But the way this world is set up is there's somebody selling something all the time. I was watching a video, and he's global too, this influencer, global, big time. And he was touring this beautiful, what was it? $10 million mansion, $15 million mansion with Tony Robbins. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is. Oh, hold on a second. Let me do my eye roll. There was no judgment. I was just rolling my eyes. Why is it? Have you thought about this? Why is it this show of things, house, gorgeous, cars, jewelry, jet setting? They're selling dissatisfaction. And I'm here to tell you that in 2017, I moved into my dream home. All of my life, since I was 18 years old, I wanted to live in the middle of a forest with a river running in the back, in the where I could hear it. I wanted to I wanted to live where I could hear a river. 2-story dream home, creek running in the back. Only during the winter, though. During the summer, you couldn't even hear. All you could hear was a bird. You couldn't hear anything. Nothing was so quiet. You couldn't hear anything, nothing. Dream, windows, looking out at trees, all surrounding me. I just knew that I would find more peace there. I just knew this was my spot. This is where I landed. This is peace eternal. Had nothing to do with peace. Those achievements, those Super Bowl rings, those accomplishments, they'll tell you. The athletes, or the professional athletes will tell you, oh yeah, it's great in the moment. Yeah, yay. Means nothing for nothing as far as contentment. Absolutely nothing. Doesn't add to any kind of contentment. Not the kind I'm talking about. Not the kind that can't be taken away. Not the kind of contentment that has nothing to do with anything external. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that all of my entire life living in the middle of a forest at 18 years old, I'm going to live in the middle of a forest. Did it, accomplishment, dream home, mahogany, African mahogany doors, walnut floors, walnut staircase. I mean, come on, heated shower. Oh, please. It was ridiculous. Gorgeous. Jacuzzi outside looking at trees. Nope. That didn't add to anything. But the mind, I'm telling you, is not a friend. Yeah, that was really wide eye-opening. Anyway, back to the show. Back to prison. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Are you living in a prison? Are you unable to change? Are you unable to look at the same situation differently? Are you unable to come up with a different perspective? Are you able to be open? Are you able to flow from one day to the next? Are you able to be at peace with uncertainty? Are you able to let go of what the mind says is important? "98% of the population are living in a prison. 98 of what you believe is not true." In fact, there's a very spiritual teacher, her name is Byron Katie, Bryon Katie, Katie. Look her up, Google her, and she has her program. It's called The Work. And so she asks these 4 questions. Oh, here it is. Whatever beliefs that you have, you question and you say, is it true? And the second question, how can I be absolutely sure that it's true? And then the third question is, how do you react when you think that thought is true? I'm just here to say, question it all. And I'm also here to tell you, this is what I do with my mind. You don't get to drive. You don't get to drive. You don't get to decide. You don't get to guide. You don't get to do anything but just be there. You're like a television turned on. The television is on, the mind is on, but I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. And I'm definitely not buying into whatever crap you have, the beliefs that you have, the mind. I'm definitely not relying the mind to take me to a place of peace. It ain't gonna happen. Not the mind. Inspired action, not the mind. I cannot believe it's 10:11. What kind of crap? I've been talking for an hour. No, because I started a little bit late. So yeah, it is about an hour. Oh, what talent. Who can talk for an hour into a blank space? Well, I know one person that can do that. Shout out to NJF. Love is so wrapping everything up, love is the ultimate state of being. And for all my gurus out there, just know, listen, the world is filled with sheep and herd animals. No offense to the sheep or cows. The world is filled with sheep and herd animals. Nothing wrong with them. But you're not one of those, and neither am I. It is an awakening, an awareness, and a different way of living. If you can't do anything different than you've done for the last decades, know that you're just in a prison cell, unable to do anything else other than follow the mind. Don't use the mind for your GPS unless you want to be unhappy. That's a wrap. Oh, yeah, it's a different day. It's a different year. Okay, this is something that I want to share. This is a comment that I made. This is from one of the gurus in the world. They write, mastery takes massive practice, unrelenting patience, and vast devotion. It's a very difficult obsession and one of the best commitments you can make. Mastery. Yeah, the mastery is the mastery of the ego, the mastery of the mind, the mastery of recognizing program beliefs, program behaviors, and yes, mastery of maintaining an energy of inner peace and contentment. Yes, mastery of transcending, mastery of doing something different than what you did yesterday or believing something different than what you believed yesterday. Yes, everything else is all ego, aka mind, aka whatever you want to call this, that keeps on ticking, that never shuts up, that never takes a break, that never goes to sleep. The practice is to witness, to observe the mind, as opposed to identify with it. No identifying with this mind, unless you want to be miserable. Well, that's all of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And now my YouTube channel is growing and growing. If you feel inspired, like and subscribe. YouTube is Rebecca Norrington. Of course, you're on YouTube listening to me. YouTube channel is a work in progress. It's still growing. And thank you for subscribing. Like and subscribe. Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter. My Twitter. Oh, scratch that. Sorry. X. It's not Twitter anymore. It's X at RL Norrington. My first book, Reality Spirituality: The Truth About Happiness, was published in 2014. But my latest book, my latest, which is 2024, in fact, is Program for Unhappiness. It's on Amazon. Program for Unhappiness. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors. And I also list 26 behaviors that add to contentment, peace. And again, happiness, contentment is all an energy. It's all a vibration. But this book lists 56 program behaviors that subtract from contentment, subtract from happiness, subtract from peace. For an example, having expectation. For an example, living in the future, living in the past. You know what a lot of people do? Talk about a prison. How about this one? The prison of constantly, it's called future worrying. We all know worrying is is another program. But future worry, it is an epidemic. I worry about tomorrow all the time. I worry about germs. I worry about health. I worry about, one lady said she worries about getting in a car accident before she even, while she's driving. This future worry, just know that if that whole worrying thing isn't addressed, you're just in a prison. You want to live in a prison with no windows. Sorry to yell at you. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You are the universe having a physical experience, having a human experience. You are the universe, and you are in this. So the point is, live it, accept it without judgment, without, this needs to be, and I'm making it happen, and it needs to be happen. No. Whatever ride you want me on, universe, let's go. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an happy journey. It's about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Remember, happiness, contentment, peace is a practiced skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you are going to experience. And every moment reflects on what you practice. And it's just that smallest shift. It could be the smallest. Scratch that. This big, small. It's just a shift. There's no such thing as big or small in the universe. You notice that? That's a human perspective, perception. Big, small. No, the universe is just later, alligators. Got to cue up the theme song. One of these days I'll have a studio. One of these days I'll have a studio. But it ain't today. It ain't today. It ain't today. It ain't today. One of these days I'll have a studio. One of these days I'll have a studio. But it ain't today. It ain't today.
It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open.
Reality, spirituality.
Got a question for RL?
And start having some fun too. And remember, keep laughing. Laugh. I command you, laugh. Did I tell you to laugh already? Laugh, dance, sing. Laugh, dance, sing. Do it now. Boop, 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 boop. You know what? One of these days I'll have a producer and an editor. I don't need editors. I don't want editing.